So when we talk about a girl and when we see her beautiful collarbone, big eyes, you know, good shape. So these are the features that a girl inherits, or these are the features that a girl has. So similar like when we see a boy, if he has good abs, good biceps, good hair. So these are kind of the features that describe the very person. So just like that, the human beings have certain features. So if we talk about Indian Constitution, our Indian Constitution also have certain features which describe the very nature of the Indian Constitution. In today's video, we are going to understand the features that the Indian Constitution has. The Indian Constitution is unique in its content spirit, though borrowed from almost every constitution of the world. The Constitution of India has several salient features distinguished from the Constitution of other countries. So, you know, the salient features that we have is obviously different from the other features that the other countries have. So that is what this very paragraph tried to say. It should be noted that at the outset, the number of original features of the Constitution adopted in 1949 have undergone a substantial change on account of several amendments. So these are the very important amendment that plays a big role when we talk about the historical background or we talk about nature and features of the Indian Constitution, which you can write it down in a copy. Also, 42nd Amendment Act. This is a very important act or amendment because during this particular amendment act various changes have been made, and due to that this is also known as the mini constitution. Then we have another important case, that is Kesavananda Bharati case, which is also known as the fundamental rights case. So if you are a law student or if you are doing a UPSC or law is your optional subject, or also you are in your doing LLM or whatever in field you are, so this is the must know case that you can't ignore. So in this case, the Supreme Court ruled that the constituent power of Parliament under Article 360 does not enable it to alter the basic structure of the Constitution. The basic structure theory was given in this particular case. So let's move into the salient features. Lengthiest written constitution. So if we see the other constitution of other countries, and if we compare it with our constitution, we can easily see the differences because our one is the lengthiest in the world and it is in the written format. And what is the reason behind having it the lengthiest? Due to its geographical factor, that is the vastness of the country and its diversity. Because of the large area that we have, on that basis, we have to add all kinds of necessary information or necessary provisions in order to rule the country in a proper way. That's why, also that is one reason why the Indian Constitution is becoming the lengthiest one. Then you have single constitution for both the center and the state. So if we see other countries, we can see that, or we see that for states they have different constitution, and uh, for the country that for the center they have another constitution. But if we see in India, we have only one constitution that applies to both states and the center as well. So for example, if I am person from Assam and if I have to follow the constitution, I have to follow the constitution of India, because for Assam I don't have any separate constitution, so I have to go for the constitution which is meant for the whole country. And let's move into the drawn from various sources. As you all know, or as I have been screaming from the very first video of this lecture series, that whatever provisions we have, most of them has been borrowed from other countries. By seeing their country's constitution, we have borrowed the provisions that we feel would be necessary for us. That is the thing that has been written here. The Constitution of India has borrowed most of the provision from the Constitution of various other countries as well as from the Government of India Act of 1945. So if you have seen the previous video, historical background, there I have discussed regarding Government Act of 1919, 1985, Charter Act. All of the acts has been described, and most of the provisions we have taken from Government of India Act 1935, which is itself a bulky one. So when we are borrowing something from that particular act only, so obviously that is the very reason that what we are incorporating in a new document would be the lengthiest and heavy as well. Now let's move into blend of rigidity and flexibility. So our constitution is a mixture of both. Both it is some provisions are flexible, some are rigid in nature. If we talk about amendment of the constitution, which is in article 368 of part 20 of the constitution, so if we need to do certain changes to our constitution, there are procedure mentioned. Some are uh, you know some can be done using the normal method and some can be done in a rigid way. So these are the things that have been mentioned here. Some provisions can be amended by a special majority of the parliament, two-third majority of the members of each house present and voting, and a majority of the total members of each house. Some other provisions can be amended by a special majority of the parliament with ratification by half of the total say. So these are the two procedures by using what we can do the amendment thing. So that is what implies or what says in summary that it's a blend of both rigidity and flexible. By seeing the nature of the topic, by seeing the nature of the subject, it can be decided whether it would be amended using simple majority or special majority. Then we have federal system with unitary bias. That is another feature of our Indian constitution. The Constitution of India establishes a federal system of government. It contains all the usual features of a federation. So we have federal elements in our constitution as well as unitary features of our constitution. So it's a amalgamation of both. Then we have parliamentary form of government. The very system of our government is parliamentary of nature. So if we see in other countries they have monarch rule, but in Indian constitution we have parliamentary form of government. For example, we have speaker, we have governor, we have the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, we can the cabinet ministry. So all kind of this thing forms a kind of a parliamentary form of government, and that's how our Indian constitution works. Then we have synthesis of parliamentary sovereignty and judicial supremacy. The doctrine of sovereignty of parliament is associated with the British Parliament, while the principle of judicial supremacy with that of the American Supreme Court. So, as I said, most of the provision has been borrowed. So, it is very much important to know which provision exactly borrowed from which country, from which part. So, you can make a proper note by writing the provisions and from the countries that have derived or borrowed. Just as the Indian parliamentary system differs from the British system, the scope and judicial review for the Supreme Court in India is narrower than that of what exists in US. So judicial review I have already discussed. So write down in the comment section in exactly which article judicial review falls under. That is the homework for you all. So next we have integrated and independent judiciary. As we all know, the Indian constitution made the judiciary independent, also the guardian of the constitution, also the guarantor of the fundamental rights. So these are the responsibilities the Indian constitution have what the dumps upon the courts or the judiciary, and they are sovereign in nature and they are separated from the government and they plays an important role by their own. Then we have fundamental rights. So this is another features of Indian constitution. So I have already made a detailed video on what are the fundamental rights, what are the fundamental rights that we give to aliens and we give to foreigners and we give to citizens. And next we have DPS, it is Directive Principles of State Policy, which is not justiciable in nature. For example, if any person denies to follow the principles given in that particular uh, policy, they are not justiciable. That means the person cannot be uh, bring to the court just because he didn't listen to whatever written in the directive principle of state policy. But it would be good if the state can follow for the better governance of the state. Then we have fundamental duties. So just because we have certain rights, it is our duty to have certain fundamental duty towards our constitution, towards our citizen, towards our fellow people. So that is what fundamental duties exactly talks about. Then we have secular state. So this very word is itself written in the preamble itself, which I have already discussed during doing the preamble of the constitution video. Let's move into universal adult franchise. So this is basically talks about the right of vote, the right to vote in our Indian constitution, which also plays an important role because by our right, by using our right, we can choose our representative who will be introducing our problems in the assembly. Then we have single citizenship. As I said, we have single citizenship. The very provision of citizenship is quite difficult in our Indian constitution. No one can simply come to India and adopt our Indian citizenship. There is a proper provision procedures that need to go through in order to acquire our Indian citizenship. And also when you are about to uh, deny that you are no longer wish to be our Indian citizenship, then also the provision is quite difficult. So this is also another important feature of Indian constitution, that is we have only single citizenship. There is no such citizenship like dual citizenship. So there is a famous actor who has dual citizenship, if you can recall. So that is for you to give it a try who that person is from Bollywood. Then we have independent bodies. So we have bodies. For example, we have UPSC Commission, we have SPSC Commission. These are the independent bodies that Indian Constitution have. So under Indian Constitution, there is a provision for constitutional bodies, non-constitutional bodies. So these are also features that Indian Constitution provides. Then we have emergency provisions. So while the Constituent Assembly or the drafting committee were preparing the draft, they have also embodied the provision of the emergency provisions. For example, if any case in future we need to uh, address encounter certain scenario, what would be the provision that should be adopted in order to safeguard our people, safeguard our citizens. That is what mentioned, that is in the emergency provisions. So till now, there is only 3 times that emergency has been applied. So that is for you to remember exactly in which case this thing is mentioned. And also we have 3 types of emergency. It is state, financial, and also national emergency. It is three emergency happened till now. 3 types of emergency for you, so you can understand or remember emergency provision as three. That is the kind of a link or trick you can try to understand the emergency provisions. We have three-tier government. Originally, the Indian Constitution, like any other federal constitution, provided for a dual polity and contained provisions with regard to the organization of and powers of the center and state. Later, the 73rd and 74th Constitution Amendment Act 1992 have added a third tier of government, which is not found in any other constitution of the world. So this is a unique feature that our Indian Constitution have, which was adopted by 73rd Constitution. And if we look for other countries' constitution, this type of unique feature is not available. Then we have cooperative societies, which has been added by 97 Constitutional Amendment Act, and which is also a kind of a feature of our Indian Constitution. These are the kind of features that we have under Indian Constitution. If you want to write down the exactly paragraph, you can also write down, but I don't think that is necessary. The only necessary is to understand the features, what are their basics meaning. Once you understand the core points, you can make the answer by your own with proper words and proper sentences. So next we have criticism of the Constitution. So when we talk about Indian polity, the very beauty of Indian polity is it has a particular paragraph which describes the criticism to that exactly varied topic. And also at the end of the chapter, you will get a table which added all the necessary information and all the keywords from that exactly chapter, so that somehow saves your time. So let's have a look here, a borrowed constitution. So you already know the answer why it is known as the borrowed constitution, and also a carbon copy of the 1935 Act, because most of the provision has been taken from Government of Indian Act 1935. That's why it has been said as the carbon copy or Xerox copy of that particular act. Then we have un-Indian or anti-Indian. So this is kind of a new words that we are witnessing here. According to the critics, the Indian Constitution is un-Indian or anti-Indian because it does not reflect the political tradition and the spirit of India. So this is the thinking of the critics, that they feel the constitution is quite un-Indian or anti-Indian and not meant for the Indian people. Then we have un-Gandhian constitution. This is another criticism. So many people believe that whatever Gandhi has thought of at that time, that our constitution should not be like this, That's how our constitution is. Whatever he has denied, all the kind of thing has been incorporated in our Indian constitution. This is a kind of mockery or irony in the eye of the very critic. So that is why the statement has been made here. Then we have elephantine size. Just because we have a lentious, heavy, fat नहीं बोल सकते, body shame हो जाएगा. Okay, so we have healthy constitution. So that is why, because of the size, because of the very size of it, it is known or it is said by the critics as elephantine size. Then we have paradise of the lawyers. So for any normal human being, if he is reading the barracks an article for the first time, the kind of language that it has used is not easily understandable by most of the people, because it has no such kind of words like shall, will, withhold, withstanding. So these are the kind of words which makes the statement or which makes the article more complex in nature. And why is the reason? Because the member of Constituent Assembly, the member of the drafting committee were of such a people who were highly educated, and they are basically from the background of a political background, or they are from law background, as Gandhiji was himself a barrister, and most of them were advocates, legal advisors, philosophers, and just because of their, what do I say, educational knowledge, that's because they have derived so much knowledge in their field. That is the reason why the collection of words and uh, collection of words or the sentence making is quite difficult. So I'll be putting it in a very simple manner. If we talk 5 years old to write an essay on cow, the same topic will be given to a person who is studying in 10th standard. Now, the kind of essay that these two people will write will definitely be different from each other, because the 5 years old or the person who is in the fifth standard will be writing the cow, with starting with the cow is a domestic animal, it gives us milk, uh, it eats grass. So this kind of sentence he will add in his essay, because till now he has derived that much of knowledge. And if we see the kind of essay written by this person who is studying in 10th standard, obviously there would be a vast difference in both of the essays, because till now he has learned very things in life, very books, he has seen very books, very articles, whatever the reason. Because of that, he has learned how to make a sentence more appropriate, more standard in nature. So both of them is correct in their own way. So that is the reason behind uh, having our constitution a quite difficult in nature in matter of language. So this is exactly the point showcased by the critics. So as I see it, the very beauty of Indian polity is it has the criticism part in, and also it has a table included which will give you a quick glance or quick recap on topic that we have discussed. So you can write it down if you want to make a note on it. So I guess that's all for today. We'll be soon meeting with another such topics. So stay tuned. Do like, share, and comment if you find this video worth watching, which will motivate me to bring just more updates. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching the video.